nervous right now. Oh, I feel like I'm at therapy. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hannah, and this is a strange first video for you if you are new. I mean, by all means, stick around. I'm so happy to have you here, but this is definitely not my normal content. This is a big ol' life update. I gotta say, it seems like anytime we are getting real on this channel, like super real, we're sitting here on the bed and we're chill. We're having a casual conversation. I did not script out any of this. I have a few bullet points, but I feel like this is going to be a little all over the place, but that's just how it needs to be because I've been trying to film this for a couple of weeks now and keep putting it off. So I think I just need to talk. So a lot of you are probably here from my apartment hunting video to find out the results of what Ross and I decided to do and where we're gonna live next, and I will get to that, I promise. There's just some stuff I need to talk about before that because it all kind of goes together. As you can probably tell from the title of this video, I got a 9-to-5 job. It's actually a 9:30 to 5:30 job, but you get it. A full-time job with a salary and benefits and all of that. Yeah, I got one of those. And while this is incredibly positive news and I'm so excited about the new job, there's a lot of less positive stuff kind of before this that I almost feel like I've been hiding from you. I feel like I haven't been completely honest, and I haven't lied to anybody. You know, I haven't straight up come on here and been like, oh, my life is great, I'm so happy. But I have definitely not been completely transparent about the place that I have been in for roughly the past 6 months. For the past 6 months, I have been dealing with a lot internally. I have not been very happy. I've honestly been kind of miserable, kind of about to make really big decisions. That's a thing I do when I am unhappy in my life. I like start thinking, you know, what is the biggest thing I can change? Like I kept telling Ross, like, I want to leave New York City. I don't even want to be here anymore. Let's just go somewhere else. This is too hard. And that was too much. Don't worry, I'm not leaving New York City. But it was obvious to me that something big had to change in my life because I was just not mentally doing well. So what was I doing before I got this 9-to-5 job? If you're new here, you probably don't know that. I have a master's degree in clarinet performance, and I finished school in 2019 and immediately moved to New York City. And ever since, I have been self-employed, freelance, combo of the two, whatever. I've done a lot of things. I teach music lessons. I teach clarinet, flute, sax, piano. I perform. I do gigs around the city. If you're looking to hire, I'm still doing that, by the way. I'm still gigging, so you need a woodwind person, I'm your girl. I've also taken on some temporary positions, particularly during COVID. There was a terrible long stretch in COVID where I literally wasn't doing anything because the whole industry just, you know, you guys know all of that. You know, you were here. I also, for about a year through 2021, was freelancing as a social media manager for 2 business improvement districts here in Brooklyn. And yeah, you know, I've been all over the place. I've been doing a little bit of everything, but I really took a lot of pride in being able to say that I was my own boss. My primary source of income, teaching music lessons, was coming directly from the degrees that I worked for, that I had, you know, countless people telling me was a pointless degree. Any other musicians here, you know what we hear. You know, we hear people saying, oh, you'll never make money. Only the top 1% of musicians ever make a career out of it. And honestly, it's garbage and it's not true. And if you are a musician, don't listen to those people. I was actually nervous to make this video because I was afraid of discouraging musicians by talking about getting a 9-to-5, you know? That's a lot of the time a fear of musicians, and I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't want to get into all that yet. Anyway, I was doing all this gig work, self-employment, and things were pretty good. It was tough. When I first got to the city, I had to work a part-time job as an usher at a theater to make it work, but I was making it work. I didn't have a ton of money. I struggled a whole lot during COVID, as everybody in this industry did, but I was making it work, and I was really, really proud of that. So when you're self-employed, you have a lot of ups and downs income-wise. You know, there would be months that I would make a lot of money, and then there were months that I didn't make so much money, and I was for the most part okay with that. But then in January, things really kind of started to tank for me. So for various reasons that I will not get into online, my 2 social media gigs were done. I was no longer working for those 2 business improvement districts. And that, though not a crazy amount of income, was stable. It was the same every month. And, you know, it was a good chunk of money. Around this time, I also lost several students. And, you know, that's a thing that happens when you have music students. Sometimes they decide they're not into it anymore and they quit. And that's okay. But I just didn't have a solid enough business going that it didn't impact me. You know, I didn't have a wait list of students waiting to study with me or anything like that. And I lost a very large percentage of my income all at once. I lost about half of my income at one time. And when you live in a city like New York City, where things are incredibly expensive, that is terrifying. Now, here's where I feel very fortunate, very lucky, and also, I mean, giving myself a little pat on the back for being responsible. I had savings, because you should have savings if you are going to be a full-time freelancer. You need savings because, you know, like I said, the money goes up and down. So I was okay, but I wasn't making enough new money. I needed to turn things around pretty quickly. So at first when that happened, I was okay. I was pretty positive. I'm like, it's all right. We'll fix it. Everything will be okay. And then the more time passed, I just started getting into a really bad place. I felt like a complete failure. I felt like I was lying to people around me. I was acting like things were okay, and they were not at all okay. I did not feel good about myself. I was scared. I felt like a failed musician. You know, that's one of those rhetorics that you hear all the time is, if you're a musician and then you do something else, you are automatically a failed musician. That's not true. That's not true. And here's why, now looking back on this, I don't feel like I failed at anything. If I wanted to get a ton more students, I could have done it. If I wanted to take on new social media clients, I could have found them, but I wasn't doing that. There was a couple of months where I wasn't doing a whole lot of anything. Every time I sat down at my computer and thought, I'm gonna send a batch of emails out to a bunch of band directors to see if they have any students at school that would want to study with me, I would just find some reason to not do it. Oh, I don't have time today. I need to edit a video. Oh, you know, I'm not gonna do that today. I need to go grocery shopping. Like, I would just find literally any reason to not do that. I started not wanting to play music anymore, which is a devastating and terrifying feeling when you're a musician and you feel like that's your only identity. Or even if you don't, if you're a musician at all, regardless of if it's your entire identity, not wanting to play anymore or having negative feelings around it feels really, really scary. You guys actually witnessed the very last gig I played. It was in early April and I vlogged it. I'll put a card to that here. But after that, I just kind of stopped. I stopped practicing frequently. I stopped searching for performance opportunities and I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do anything. I was honestly spending way too much time just not doing anything. It was very clear to me at that point, and it was very clear to Ross, who was lovely through this whole time and super supportive, but it was just very obvious to the both of us that something dramatic had to change. I was extremely unhappy, and like I said earlier, I kept talking about like, let's just leave New York. But I was like, okay, let's slow down. Let's be a little less dramatic than that. So I started looking for jobs online that were related to music and arts that fit my skill set. And I started applying, and I took a few interviews and did not feel great about them. And I removed myself from those searches, which felt a little bit crazy because I was like, here I am not making a ton of money and I'm being really picky about jobs. But actually, I think that was a good thing for me. And I know that not everybody has the privilege to do that all the time. But like I said, I did have a savings. Things weren't totally desperate yet. And so I was allowing myself to be picky. I was only applying to things that really interested me. And then if I got into the interviews and found that it didn't actually, I wasn't gonna waste any more time. I wasn't gonna waste my time. I wasn't gonna waste their time. So then I see this job listing that looked pretty perfect for me, and I honestly almost didn't even apply because it had been up for like 3 weeks, and I just thought it had been up too long. I usually try to apply to ones that had only been up less than a week. I've heard that works better. I don't know, but this one had been up 3 weeks. I applied. I did 3 interviews. This process took well over a month, and I got the job. And I've now been working in that job for about a week and a half. So I've gone back and forth on if I wanted to share exactly where I'm working and what I'm doing on here. And here's the thing, I do. I love to share things. I'm an oversharer. I want to share everything with you. But I think I've decided that at least until I kind of feel the organization out a little bit better and just get a better idea of what's okay and what's not, that I'm just gonna keep it vague on here because I share a lot of personal stuff. I share my personal feelings on things, and I don't want those things to reflect on the organization if they don't want it to. Also, this is public information. It can be found online, but I'm just not gonna put it here right now, and that might change in the future. But what I will tell you is that I am working for a major music organization in their marketing department. It is a full-time 9:30 to 5:30 kind of job. I have employee health insurance. I know. It's going really well so far. I'm really happy with my decision so far, and throughout the whole interview process, I just felt really, really good about it. From the first interview, I was like, yes, I want this job. This is the job for me. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get this job. I had never felt that way before, ever, about any full-time office type job that I've interviewed for, and there have been a lot of them. I feel like I'm a great fit for the organization. I feel like they're a great fit for me. Everybody that I've worked with so far has just been wonderful. The environment's very relaxed. I get to work from home, and I'm having a great time so far, and I'm confident that this was the right decision for me right now. So what does this mean for me? What does this mean for my future? What does this mean for all of this other stuff, my teaching and performing and all of that? I have not stopped teaching music lessons. I am, however, teaching a few less students. I have the privilege now of being able to only work with students that I want to work with. And that might sound a little harsh, but I've had students who don't practice. I've had students whose parents are very difficult to deal with. I've had students who just don't show up or try to cancel with less than 24 hours advance notice and don't want to pay for it, even though my policy says that you have to cancel sooner than that or you still got to pay for it. I've dealt with really complicated students and parents before, and I don't have to do that anymore. And the students that I'm still teaching are fantastic. I adore all of them. I adore all of their parents, and it's great. I'm having a great time. Like I said, I have only been in this job a week and a half, and I have been focusing most of my energy toward it, as I should be right now, but I do fully intend on continuing to take gigs. I'm happy to report that I have been practicing again. I want to play music. I've been thinking about my musical goals and getting excited about them and creating practice plans that work for those goals, and it doesn't feel like a chore anymore. I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying being a musician. It's not bogging me down anymore. I think before I felt really like I had something to prove, and this isn't an anyone else problem. This is a me problem. I felt like if I got a full-time job, a 9 to 5, that I wasn't a real musician anymore, or I was a failure, or that I was contributing to the belief that going into music is stupid and you can't make a career out of it. For one, I'm pretty confident that my music degrees helped me get this job within this major music organization. At least I think so. I don't want to speak, if anyone who hired me is watching this, I don't want to speak on your behalf, but I do think it was a positive for me. I want to make it very clear that I do not regret going into music. I do not think it is impossible to make it your full-time thing either. It's very much doable. It just wasn't serving me right now in the place that I'm in. I actually took a class a couple months ago on building your YouTube channel into a real sustainable business, and it was taught by Chelsea Fagan of the Financial Diet, and she said something in that class that made me have like this major light bulb moment that actually didn't have a whole lot to do with YouTube. It was separate for me, but she said that when you are trying to get a business going, whether that's a YouTube channel or a music lesson studio or whatever, if you're trying to get a business going and you are relying on that too heavily for your income, that you are gonna burn out so quick. She was advocating for making sure that you were working on that while having a steady source of income instead of trying to make it your main source of income too soon. And that is exactly what I did. I jumped right into it, right away, right out of school, and was trying to build from nothing with no stable income to fall back on. And I think that is exactly what caused me to burn out like I did. So I know a lot of you did tune into this because you want to know where Ross and I are going to be living next. And yes, it does tie into this a little bit. So here's what we're doing. Drum roll or something. I'll put in some sound effect here. Sound effects going, sound effect, sound effect. We're staying here. We're staying in our current apartment. And I could not be more thrilled about it. Now, you have heard me say for several months now that this apartment is too expensive. We have to move. Now, let me make it very clear that I am not suddenly loaded. I am still making normal people money. But now that I have a more stable income that is a little more than I was making before, I feel way more comfortable keeping this apartment. Is it a little bit more money than we would like to be spending still? Yes. Yes, it is. And we've struggled with the decision a lot because of that. We did some math when we were trying to figure out what to do, of course, as you should do. And by the time we factored in the rent prices being so high this time around, the broker fees being ridiculous this time around, the actual cost of moving, plus the mental toll that it was going to take on me to start a brand new job on June 15th and have to move by June 30th, we just decided that staying here is the best choice for now, and I am really, really happy about it. I love this apartment, and I'm glad we get to stay here another year. I'm actually filming this on the day that I posted the apartment hunting video, and a couple of you have already guessed that we picked apartment number 9 in Williamsburg, and that was a great guess. That was what we had it narrowed down to, was between that one and staying here. It was a lovely apartment, but yeah, for staying here. I feel so much lighter right now than I did before I started this video. Saying all that really did feel like therapy. So if you're still here listening, wow, thank you. If you have any questions for me about all of this, feel free to leave them down in the comments. I'm happy to answer your questions. I know this is a big change, and I'm so glad that all of this is out in the open now. I just feel lighter, more real. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Go watch another video that it's a little more of the regular content for this channel. This is not it. I make videos about New York City and my life living here, and a lot of them are really fun. So go check those out, then subscribe. Oh, also, this new job will not be affecting YouTube. I'm still gonna be YouTubing. I'm still here, videos every Saturday. I am somehow making it work. I have been up quite late editing YouTube videos a couple of times at this point, but I am still making it work. We're still here, still doing it. So don't worry, and I will see you on Saturday.